Move version of the game. The entire game is going to be playable with Move, so anything from single player to multiplayer, you'll be able to choose Move as an option to play with. Obviously, DualShock still supported throughout the game, and that's going to be the bread and butter. It's not going to go anyway, going to go away anytime soon. But obviously, the Move is a great option for new players because it'll feel very familiar to those people, because it's aiming at the screen. That's where your bullets will go. As soon as you kind of hit the sides of the screen, it starts rotating up, down. And that's one of the things that we're looking at to expose as a parameter as well, because it's different things to different people. Some of them would like to be able to really quickly turn around and move around, whereas other people find it really disorienting. So that's something that we're going to be implementing as an option in the menu. You can just kind of set it to however you to whatever you're comfortable with. In terms of shooting and aiming, you don't have an auto-aim system like we do with the DualShock, where it's kind of sticky as soon as you go over enemies, because with the Move you want to be able to kind of freely aim and not have it kind of be sticky on certain parts of the screen wherever enemies are. So we left the auto-aim to a button, so it's now in your L2. You can just kind of zoom in and snap to enemies, which makes it really easy to shoot at anything that's exposed from these enemies and just take them out one by one. What you can see as well is we've implemented gestures. So if I'm a little low on ammo, I can just flick of the wrist, and it'll start reloading. At the same time, I can pick up weapons by just pulling towards me, and I pick up a new weapon. One thing that's new in Killzone 3 is the ability to carry more than one weapon. So rather than just have the one primary weapon that everybody was complaining about in Killzone 2, I can now actually switch to two primary weapons, and I still have my fallback pistol, which makes it a lot easier to carry these heavy weapons around, and you have a lot more options to play these encounters with. And again, all of that snapping and zooming works with all the different weapons as well. I can just take these guys out in a nice, brutal fashion. So that's one of the gestures, or a couple of the gestures that we've implemented. We've also looked at grenade throwing, which is initially where we thought, well, let's do an overhead throw. That didn't work as well. So what we do now is you basically push L1, you take out a grenade, start cooking it, and I can aim where I want it to throw, and it'll throw it right there. Which makes a lot of sense, because you want to be able to see where your grenades are going, because they're quite lethal. Let me switch to that. So anything you would expect still works. You can still run around. All the buttons that have a function in the DualShock still have the exact same function on the Move controllers, so you can still use all of that. Another cool thing that to try out, obviously, is the brutal melee. Which is, if I get close to these enemies, it'll trigger a context-sensitive action. So I can just get up close to the guy right here, hold the thing, and perform a stabbing motion, and it does the same thing in game. So again, take this guy out right there, and that's a bug. Thank you, thank you. Okay, guys in Amsterdam will love this.
Don't worry, it's alpha.
It's very much alpha code indeed. We've got a lot of time to polish it up and iron out the bugs.
Talk about in multiplayer, like how people can play together with it, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Move is going to be supported throughout all of the game modes, so it's going to be a multiplayer as well, which means that we still want to figure out whether we're going to have Move players thrown in with the DualShock players, because it's one of those things where we need to do a lot of play testing, because we were born and raised on the DualShock. So for us to gauge whether it's an unfair challenge or an unfair advantage to Move players with their auto aim and those kind of things, that's something that we have to test out. Obviously, it's very easy for us to kind of have Move players only play with Move players, because it's a server-side setting, so we can always fix it if there are problems that we haven't resolved through play testing. So it's one of the great options, and we're finding that especially new players who haven't been kind of born and raised on DualShock immediately get to grips with the Move controller. So for us, we're really hoping that it opens the game up to a whole new audience, because it's kind of a hardcore game, but at the same time, a lot of people are attracted because of the visuals, or because of the story, or because of just the sheer violence in the game. They really kind of like that visual feeling of having a gun and walking around, but they find the DualShock a little bit too difficult or too daunting to play with. The Move controller should be a great option for those people. Obviously, the game's going to be playable in 3D as well, and if you add 3D and Move, you kind of that's kind of the best mix you could possibly have, because you feel like you're really in the middle of the game. You're holding your gun and you're right there in the middle of the world. So those are the great options. But there's going to be not too many people out there that have that kind of ideal combination.
One day, though.
One day we'll be there. One day we'll be there. Absolutely.
Alright, just go on a little killing spree.
Little killing spree. There we go. That will go down well. Oh, I'm out of bullets. That's not what I wanted.
Animations are really good.
Yeah, we're adding a lot more animations to make sure that there's a lot of variety in terms of what you can do with the brutal melees and how these guys are getting up. And there's so much more variety in this game throughout. I mean, in this level here, there's jetpack troopers in. You get to fly around in the jetpack. You're an intruder with heavy weapons, all that kind of stuff. But that's going to be throughout the game. We're gonna add a lot of vehicles to it. As you may have seen in the multiplayer demo at the show floor, we're also adding vehicles to the multiplayer side of things. So for the first time, you get to hop around in jetpacks in multiplayer as well. We even have the exoskeleton, which is a lot of fun because it adds a lot of firepower to it. And to offset that, we've got, on the one hand, we've got all of the cool new weapons that Killzone 3 has. So some of the big gyro mount weapons with the Wasp rocket launcher or the minigun, those will be available in multiplayer as well. But at the same time, we've got these things we call level events, where you can kind of influence what happens in the level. So in one of the levels, there's a big EMP blast that goes off at times. You can trigger that. So you have all these jetpack guys flying around, and you can trigger this EMP blast, and they all start falling from the sky, which is a lot of fun. So you can kind of offset all of these things with cool level events or with bigger weapons. And that's kind of the end, where all the enemies are dead.
Thank you so much.